Good morning to you all, and I'm Ruth Moyer, the University Secretary, and on behalf of the University, I extend to you all a very warm welcome on this special day where we celebrate the installation of our new Chancellor, Professor Sir Geoff Palmer, in this our bicentennial year. We are delighted to have you here with us in person, and we also welcome Heriot-Watt staff, students and guests around the world who are watching the live streaming of this event. Now, before we move to the ceremony, I've got a few housekeeping points. Firstly, can you please switch mobile phones to silent during the ceremony? And for those of us present, we would ask you to wear face coverings throughout the event if you're able to. And this is to meet the COVID requirements at universities in Scotland. Should there be a fire alarm, the fire exits are located at each side at the back and the front of the hall, and our staff and ushers will be there to guide you and help you if you need help. Now to our ceremony. Professor Richard Williams, the Principal and Vice-Chancellor, will preside over the Chancellor's installation. And following the installation of Professor Sir Geoff Palmer as Chancellor, he will preside over the award of 2 honorary degrees. And after the ceremony, you're invited to join us for refreshments in the James Watt Lounge. This is a truly special time for the University, and let me welcome you once again as we celebrate our bicentenary and the installation of Sir Geoff as our Chancellor. We hope you all enjoy the ceremony. There'll now be a short film, which will be followed by the academic and Chancellor's processions. And as the music begins after the film, please can you stand for the procession and remain standing until you're invited to sit. Thank you all.
"200 years ago, in 1821, the Edinburgh School of Arts, the world's first mechanics institute, was founded by Leonard Horner and Robert Bryson on Niddry Street. 31 years later, the Edinburgh School of Arts changes its name to the Watt Institution and School of Arts, as the late engineer James Watt proves an inspiration to staff and students. This comes after the Watt Subscription Fund donates funding to the school as Edinburgh's monument to James Watt. In 1854, the Watt Club is formed, which today is a global alumni association made up of over 143,000 members. Pioneering activist Mary Burton led a successful campaign to admit women to the institute in 1869. She later becomes the first woman on the school's board of directors and a life governor of Heriot-Watt College, inspiring many women to break into and excel in education. In 1885, George Heriot's Trust investment support the Watt Institution and School of Arts, and so created Heriot-Watt College. In 1949, graduate Christina Miller became the first woman chemist to become a Fellow of the Royal Society of Edinburgh. In 1966, the Royal Charter was awarded by Queen Elizabeth II, giving Heriot-Watt its university status. In 1969, Heriot-Watt is gifted the Riccarton Estate by Midlothian Council. The move to Riccarton took over 20 years to complete, creating Heriot-Watt's Edinburgh campus. By 1971, Heriot-Watt's links with industry enter a new era by establishing the first university research park in Europe. In the late 1980s, Heriot-Watt starts to expand, and in 1989 the International Centre for Island Technology opens in Stromness. In 1990, the Edinburgh Business School launches the first independent distance learning MBA offered at scale. Today, the Edinburgh Business School has 49,000 alumni across 158 countries. Heriot-Watt University merges with the Scottish College of Textiles in 1998 to create the Scottish Borders campus. Heriot-Watt becomes international in 2005 as the university is the first to set up in the new Dubai International Academic City, and the Dubai campus is founded. In 2008, Heriot-Watt and the Edinburgh Business School take ownership of Panmure House in Edinburgh's Old Town. Once home to Adam Smith, the father of modern economics and central figure of the Scottish Enlightenment, Panmure House is now a hub for social and economic debate and research. And in 2014, Heriot-Watt University opens its 5th campus in Putrajaya, Malaysia, only 25 kilometres from Kuala Lumpur. 2016 sees both the Lyell Centre, a global research institute created in partnership with the British Geological Society, and Orium, Scotland's national sports performance centre, welcomed onto the Edinburgh campus. In 2021, the year of its 200th anniversary, Heriot-Watt University opens the doors of its brand new campus at Dubai Knowledge Park, serving nearly 4,000 students with its state-of-the-art facilities. To this day, Heriot-Watt continues its pioneering research and education, bringing positive impact to the global stage.
sit down. Well, may I welcome our honoured guests, fellow principals, friends, staff, students on this very special occasion. My welcome extends warmly to all of those present in the hall today and also to those who are joining us online through streaming or watching independently. You're all very, very welcome. Our whole global community is so excited to be here today for the installation of our new Chancellor and for the presentation of honorary degrees as part of our bicentenary celebrations. Exactly 200 years tomorrow, the first lecture was staged at St. Celia's Hall in Nidri Street to a packed lecture hall, made possible through public subscription and philanthropic donations from Edinburgh business folk and corporations and individuals to enable upskilling of the citizens of Edinburgh. Through an astonishing journey that created the whole Mechanics Institute movement of over 7,000 places of learning across the world, including 34 universities, we find ourselves today here. Each of us in this hall are part of this extraordinary journey, this journey of the UK's most diverse institution, Heriot-Watt University. Heriot-Watt is a global community as a multinational university with 5 campus locations in 3 countries and 3 time zones. This year with 30,000 students, with around 1/3 of those students based in Scotland, 1/3 based in the UAE and Malaysia, and 1/3 learning from home online while studying from their places of work. The Watt Club, as we heard earlier in the film, has over 146,000 connected and lively alumni in 196 countries. I'm pleased that our university is a global community of so many nations and so many faiths, and those of no faith. May I invite the Reverend Dr. Alistair Donald to focus our minds in a short reflection to open the proceedings today.
Well, on this very special occasion for our university, it will be good for us, I think, to pause and reflect on both the past and the future. Some will wish to join with me in a prayer. Others may wish to use the words as your own reflection. Eternal God, before whom all hearts are open and all desires known, as we collect our thoughts in this moment of quiet, in the busyness and excitement of this day, we give thanks for all that has passed in this institution's 200-year history, from its foundation in providing education to those who would otherwise have been excluded, and also now for the present and future with our global reach and multinational and multicultural inclusion. We give thanks too for our new Chancellor, for the many personal and academic gifts that he brings from his long association with the university, gifts that make him so very suited to being a figurehead for Heriot-Watt at the present time. And in these very challenging times for education, may we all keep focused on delivering the best experience for our students and for our staff. Amen. May it be so.
Thank you. Well, the presentation and installation of a Chancellor is a very special occasion at any time. But of course, this year being our bicentennial year, the presentation today has extreme poignancy as the incumbent is the most extraordinary person. a person who himself has been a student of the university, a professor at the university. Sir Geoff Palmer is someone known to so many of us, and he's known as a person who exudes and shares the values and very same ethos as Heriot-Watt University. A university that has a diverse community, a university that has its mindset on enhancing the well-being of humanity. Sir Geoff will be the 6th Chancellor of the university, following on from Dr. Robert Buchan, a mining entrepreneur and philanthropist who served 8 years in the role. Now, many of us have heard a little of Sir Geoff's life story, and I rather hope we shall learn a little more today later on, Sir Geoff. But to give a short précis, if I may, in 1989, in fact, Sir Geoff became Scotland's first black professor and has a long association with the university. This actually began when he completed his PhD in grain science and technology jointly with Heriot-Watt College and the University of Edinburgh in the 1960s. He went on to a successful research career in Surrey before moving back to Heriot-Watt University in 1977, where he worked until his retirement in 2005. During that time, Sir Geoff invented the barley abrasion process, the success of which attracted funding to establish the International Centre for Brewing and Distilling in 1989, part of the Heriot-Watt campus here in Edinburgh. Following his retirement, he earned the academic title of Professor Emeritus, and Sir Geoff received the honour of being appointed an OBE in 2003, and he was knighted in the 2014 New Year's Honours List for his services to human rights, science, and charity. In 2008, Geoff received the Award of Distinction from the American Society of Brewing Chemists, given in recognition of his exceptional contributions and long, diligent service to brewing science, the brewing industry, and society. In 2018, he was the recipient of the Jamaican National Honour, the Order of Distinction, Commander Class. Now, alongside his academic work, Sir Geoff is a board member of many charitable and equality organisations, including the Citizens Advice Bureau. He was also made a Freeman of Midlothian in 2012. And even this year's, amongst many awards, they've just continued to flow in, and Sir Geoff was recognised with the Pride of Scotland Lifetime Achievement Award. Indeed, Sir Geoff, I do not seem to be able to turn on my TV, but to see you upon it. And in recent weeks, we've had the pleasure of seeing Sir Geoff on the Antiques Roadshow, the Great British Menu, Question Time, and several documentaries about slavery and work connected with his important work chairing the Edinburgh Slavery and Colonialism Legacy Review Group. So, Sir Geoff, this, in addition to all that you are doing to support our inclusion access work here at the university, we're so delighted to have you here today. And it is now my pleasure to invite you to come forward for the installation. Under the authority given to me by the Court and the Senate, I'm delighted to install you as the 6th Chancellor of Heriot-Watt University. So, Geoff, please do make a response.
Well, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. My mother would be extremely pleased, and I can see my one of my granddaughter over there is also very pleased. But thank you very much. And Principal, Vice-Chancellor, other principals, staff, students, guests, friends, and my family who are sitting over there. Maybe I should take my mask off. It is simply unimaginable for me to think that when I arrived in London at the age of 14, that I would be standing with you today as Chancellor. Becoming the Chancellor of the Heriot-Watt University, an institution that I know well and admire, is a position I accept with both honor and humility. I'm touched and indeed overwhelmed by the messages of congratulation from around the university. Heriot-Watt, or the Watt, as you may hear me call it, is an institution that, since its inception, fostered the ethos of inclusion and education for all. And I'm very proud of the continued focus on ensuring that its doors are open to everyone in Scotland and across the world. As a truly multicultural university, I am very much looking forward to promoting and enhancing its reputation as a provider of world-class education and as a global leader in innovative research. I will assist the university to achieve its goals and ambitions during my period as Chancellor. The principal suggested that I share with you some aspects of my journey here, and it is my pleasure to do so. My African connection. In the 1980s, while working at the Heriot-Watt, I made my first trip to Nigeria to assist the Guinness Company on matters relating to the commercial use of the local grain sorghum. The trip was successful, and returning late to my hotel from a reception given by the company and the local chief, my car was stopped by two young armed soldiers. They asked for my country of origin. I said Jamaica. They hesitated, had a discussion in their language, and then asked in excitement in English, "Do you know Bob Marley?" My Scottish connection. On receiving my DNA results, my wife, who's sitting over there, informed me that I was 97% African. I asked her about the remaining 3%. She smiled and said, "Viking from Shetland." And walking away, she said, "It explains a lot." As we look ahead, it is a fact that our university has a duty, an imperative to look outwards to society and to raise the level of ambition and purpose of its students and staff to ensure that we will fulfill our mission to educate and research for the betterment of society. I know that the Watt is ardent in its future plans to make every student future ready. This means that the university will enable students to be both intellectually, emotionally, culturally, and ethically equipped for the future. There has never been a more important time to lead and to address the urgent matters of climate change and societal inclusiveness. As Chancellor, I'm looking forward to promoting our mission. And may I thank you again for this honor, and I look forward to be a part of driving our pioneering initiatives ahead. Thank you very much.
And Chancellor, as you take your seat, we would like to share some congratulatory messages with you in the form of a video. So please, may we see the video.
Professor Palmer, on behalf of the Government of Jamaica and the staff of the Jamaica High Commission, I extend to you hearty congratulations on achieving this prestigious milestone.
I'm really proud of you. I've known you for a very, very long time. I've worked in various organizations with yourself, and I know how hard you work and the hard work you do for the community. All I can say is, well done, keep up the good work, congratulations.
So Geoff, on behalf of Heriot-Watt Dubai, I congratulate you on yet another achievement, and one that benefits this university enormously.
Sir Geoff, a big congratulations from all of us in Malaysia. You truly inspire us, and we can't wait to welcome you in the country. Thank you for being our Chancellor.
We're so pleased and proud to have someone of your eminent values and standing agree to take on this important role. I'm looking forward very much to working with you over the coming months and years, starting very soon with winter graduations. Congratulations once again, Sir Geoff.
But his distinction as the first black professor in Scotland is huge, and for this honour to come to him as the university celebrates 200 years of his history is prescient and very, very important. Congratulations, Sir Geoff Palmer.
To us here at Citizens Advice, though, we know you simply as a wonderful man who voluntarily has dedicated your time to help your local community and building bridges. I've no doubt you make a great Chancellor, and if your record at Pennycook Cab is anything to go by, you'll do some wonderful things. All the very best.
Well, it's important, of course, to look back on the achievements of your great institution as you celebrate your 200th anniversary. You also have to look to the future, and Heriot-Watt will benefit greatly from having such an inspirational figure as Chancellor in the years to come.
You're a much loved and inspirational figure at this university, and the student representative bodies are extremely proud that you are our new Chancellor.
On behalf of your ICBD family, past and present, Professor Sir Geoff Palmer, I would like to say congratulations, and here are a few of the current students to say congratulations as well.
Congratulations!
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 Well, Chancellor, thank you for your leadership and the acceptance of this role. We're so delighted. And if I may just say on behalf of the whole university community, as we have seen, we thank you, Sir Geoff, and thank you also, Lady Margaret, and all the family for all that you have already brought to the university. And we're so delighted to have you here. So we're now going to move on to award our honorary degrees, and I would like to call upon Professor Heather McGregor, the acting head of the School of Social Sciences, to present Dame Frances Cairncross for the award of Honorary Doctor of the University.
Chancellor, on the occasion of the Bicentenary of Heriot-Watt University, I have the very great honour to present, for degree of Doctor of the University, Dame Frances Cairncross. Dame Frances is a Fellow of the Royal Society of Edinburgh and was for 10 years the Rector, i.e. the head, of Exeter College at Oxford University. She enjoyed a long and distinguished career as a journalist and is most well known for having spent 20 years as a senior editor at The Economist. Educated at Oxford and at Brown University in the United States, she entered journalism back in 1967, at a time when very few women wrote on serious subjects. Prior to joining The Economist, she spent 11 years at The Guardian, and the final 3 years of which editing the Women's Page, which makes it all the more apposite that she became Heriot-Watt University's first female chair of court in 2015. Dame Frances was, of course, the perfect choice for Heriot-Watt University. Not only was she a distinguished economist and journalist, but like us, she had a foot in both the sciences and the social sciences. She chaired the Economic and Social Research Council between 2001 and 2007 and was president of the British Science Association in 2005 to 2006. Even more than that, She was definitely the perfect choice for us because she was the perfect size for the sleeping bunks on the Caledonian Sleeper, as you can see, and is one of the very few people I know who sleep soundly between Euston and Waverley. As well as being our first female chair, Dame Frances was the first to be based outside of Scotland. Not that she was unconnected to Scotland. Her father was Scottish and an economist. She spent all of her formative school years in Glasgow. She married a Scot, and Hamish, wherever you are, welcome here today. And she even has a Scottish son-in-law. I know that one of her few regrets in life is that she never acquired a Scottish accent. And Dame Frances, I know how you feel. With a name like Heather McGregor, I know that people are very disappointed when I start speaking. Yeah. My abiding memories, my personal abiding memories of Frances will be of the very many times that she appeared in the Edinburgh Business School bistro straight off the Caledonian Sleeper, queuing up for breakfast with everyone else, full of energy and eager to hear how we were all getting on, brimming with ideas and ready to go. From a personal perspective, I benefited enormously from her unwavering support for our renovation at Pamure House and the even more ambitious project of the merger of the business school with the wider university. Now, Dame Frances, I know that you loved being part of the Heriot-Watt family. And although you visited and admired all of our 5 campuses, you had an especial affection for the one we are on today. You always commented, particularly on how well our grounds were maintained. And your enduring admiration for our groundsmen is something I am delighted to put on the public record. And Dame Frances, I want to just say something about Robbie Fraser, our head groundsman, and to share with all of you that our new mace holder, which you can see here, which is new today for our installation of the Chancellor and will be in every graduation in December and onwards, was made by Robbie Fraser and his team from a piece of wood from the grounds, so that you can be sure to look at it afterwards. No, they were naturally shed, those antlers. On behalf of everyone at Heriot-Watt University, I would like to thank you for your service to our community and for the time and energy that you gave to us during your tenure. Chancellor, in the name of the university and by the authority of the Senate, in recognition of her contribution to our extraordinary and very special university, I call upon you to confer the honorary degree of Doctor of the University on Dame Frances Cairncross.
I'm allowed to take my mask off in order to speak, which is a great relief. Chancellor, Principal, distinguished friends and former colleagues, it's a tremendous honour to be here and to receive this degree, and an even greater honour to be here in your company, Chancellor, to receive your first degree ever given out in your new role. You've long been one of Heriot-Watt's most loyal supporters, and the university is lucky that you've agreed to accept this post, because it will add lustre and distinction to Heriot-Watt, and it will attract even more students from all over the world to come and study here. Indeed, one of Scotland's most remarkable achievements is to harbour so many universities in the global top league. And it helps that Scotland's been in the business of higher education for longer than many countries have been in existence. By 1500, before Henry VIII came to the throne in England, Scotland had 3 great universities already, and a 4th, Edinburgh was the laggard, by 1600. England, you hardly need to be reminded, had only 2 universities right up until the 1830s, and by then Heriot-Watt had already begun to take shape with the foundation of the Institute of Mechanics, the Mechanics Institute, 200 years ago this weekend. It's really fantastic to receive an honorary degree from you on this day of all days. It's a magnificent honor. But when I look at university education in Scotland, I have a concern, and I think that Heriot-Watt may be able to help to resolve it. An Oxford economics study pointed out earlier this year that Scotland seems to have plenty of human capital. Its people are more likely to have some sort of higher education than anywhere else in the United Kingdom, with the exception of London. But Scotland suffers from a low business birth rate, relatively low levels of business investment, and a poor record for scale-ups, for making small businesses grow into larger businesses. Well-educated Scots seem to be more likely to go into a profession or to work for the public sector than to build a successful company, or at least to build one here in Scotland. We all know that getting a degree doesn't necessarily make someone entrepreneurial. Although if you want a university that encourages business creation, Heriot-Watt, with the business school that Professor McGregor built up, must be one of the best. You probably all know, you probably all read, that more of Heriot-Watt's recent alumni have become chief executives or managing directors or business founders than those of any other Scottish university. That's quite an accolade. But overall, Scotland has failed to become a magnet for talent. Indeed, it's added fewer than 500,000 people since 1951, when I went to primary school in Glasgow. Meanwhile, England has added 15 million people, almost 3 times as many as Scotland's entire population. Talent, human capital, is the key to economic growth. It's people that make the difference. And it's talent that creates new businesses, spots opportunities, turns around stagnant firms. We know that in-migrants and returning Scots seem to be more likely to try to start a business than Scots who have stayed put. So why has Scotland largely failed to become more of a magnet for entrepreneurial talent when it has so much to offer? How could it keep more of the students who flock to its universities from abroad, as we've heard, especially to Heriot-Watt, and from the south, and woo back more of those young Scots who head to England for their degree because they're frustrated by not being able to find a place in the Scottish universities clearing? I just don't know the answer, but it's almost the only question that really matters for Scotland's future prosperity. I think it's more likely to come from Heriot-Watt than from any other Scottish university. And I'd like to feel that all of Scotland's universities could help its politicians to find answers, and that its politicians were willing to listen even more closely to its universities. Chancellor, your wide experience, your tact, and your good sense make you the ideal person to drive this process forward. And I hope that you will help Heriot-Watt to make Scotland an even more attractive place for businesses to grow and to thrive. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm now pleased to ask Dr. Steve King, the Director of Music at Heriot-Watt University, together with the One Watt Voices, to come onto the stage here. And they're going to reflect and mark our special bicentenary celebration today by performing music that would have been familiar in the salons of Edinburgh during the age of the Enlightenment. Dr. Steve King.
A quartet from One Watt Voices will be performing 3 songs for you today. The first is O Lusty May, a very joyful, upbeat song. The second is Remember Me, My Dear. It's a heart-wrenchingly beautiful song, slow. And the third piece is a setting by Montgomery of Psalm 23. We think it's actually a setting from a French folk song or street song. The lovely thing about these three songs, they're all sung in Old Scots.
O lusty May with Flora Queen, the balmy drops from feeble sheen, prelucent beams before the day, the day. Be that Diana grows green, through gladness of this lusty May, through gladness of this lusty May. Dan es perus that is so bricht, till woeful herds cast his licht, with banks that blooms on every brae, the brae, and shores are shed forth of their seed, through gladness of this lusty May, through gladness of this lusty May. Birdies on views of every birth, rejoicing notes mac and their mirth, right pleasantly upon the spray, the spray, with flourishings of field and fir, through gladness of this lusty May, through gladness of this lusty May. All loveries that are in care, to their ladies they do repair, in fresh mornings before the day, the day, and are in mirth they mere and mere, through gladness of this lusty May, through gladness of this lusty May. Of all the months of the year, to mirthful May there is no peer. Her glistering garments are so gay, they are so gay, so gay. You lovers all make merry cheer, through gladness of this lusty May, through gladness of this lusty May. Remember me, my dear, I humbly you require, for my request that loves you best, with faithful heart in tear. My heart shall rest within your breast. Remember me, my dear. My heart shall rest within your breast. Remember me, my dear. Remember me in pain, with unkindness slain, through delay of cruel way, that in you does remain. Remit, I say, alas, alway, remember me in pain. heart, mind, body, and all. Ne'er to repent, but stand content. Remember me in thrall. Ne'er to repent, but stand content. Remember me in thrall. The Lord Most He, I know, will be an heir to me. I can in long have stress nor stand in need. He makes my lair in fields safe, fair that without care I do repose and at my pleasure feed. He sweetly me convoys to pleasant springs, where nothing me annoys but pleasure brings. He gives my mind pace in such kind that fear of foes nor force can ne'er relieve. By him I'm led in perfect tread, and for his name he will me never leave. Though I should stay in day by day in deedly way, yet would I be assured and fear no ill. For why thy grace in every place doth me embrace, thy rod and shepherd's crook comforts me still. In despite of my foe my table grows, thou bounds my head with joy, my cup o'erflows. Kindness and grace, mercy and peace shall follow me for all my wretched days. Then endless joy shall me convoy to heaven, where I with thee shall be always.
I now call upon Dr. Tracy Shemield, Director of the Lyell Centre, to present Professor Sir Ian Lamont Boyd for the award of Honorary Doctor of Science.
Thank you. Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Doctor of Science Sir Ian Lamont Boyd. The resounding message that I would hope to leave with you today is not only one of excellence in science, but most importantly, of science integrity and of ongoing contributions to science for policy for government. Sir Ian is a marine and polar scientist who graduated from the University of Aberdeen with a degree in zoology in 1979 and gained his PhD on the reproduction of grey seals at Cambridge University in 1983. As the son of the Scottish zoologist and conservationist John Morton Boyd, who he co-authored books with in the Scottish Hebrides, Sir Ian's vocation, indeed love, of conservation ecology is perhaps not surprising. His career has evolved from physiological ecologist with the Natural Environmental Research Council Institute of Terrestrial Ecology to a science programme director with the British Antarctic Survey, and then director at the Natural Environmental Research Council Sea Mammal Research Unit in Scotland, based in St Andrews. A significant part of Sir Ian's scientific work has concerned sustainability of fish stocks, seals and whales, and managing intricate marine food webs. However, his work has spanned popular science as well as controversial science topics, and he's comfortable discussing pure science and more applied and popular topics. It is this ability to explain the importance of and to communicate his science that led Sir Ian to become, in 2012, the UK Government Chief Scientist for the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, DEFRA. He took on this role when a number of controversial issues were on the table, notably concerning pesticides, including neonicotinoids, and also food sustainability and invasive ash tree disease, badger culls, and more. Sir Ian has his finger on the pulse of environmental issues affecting the UK. He espouses the concept that the scientific community needs to avoid suggesting that policies are either right or wrong, but be willing to make the voice of science heard by engaging with the mechanisms available through science advisory committees. He has backed the scientific case for climate change and has been highly influential in the debate on the UK position and led up to COP in Paris and COP in Glasgow this year. Following his stint as Chief Scientist coming to an end, he has been based part-time at St Andrews University, and the focus of his work has been more specifically orientated to the need for policy-relevant science. This is exemplified in recent weeks by Sir Ian co-chairing with the First Minister of Scotland of the Environment Council of Scotland and his role in the COVID-19 SAGE Committee. His focus is now on research integrity, the institutional and organisational structures needed to meet the imperative of net zero, and how to build a resilient nation. Sir Ian helped launch the Hutton series on climate change in 2020, and that has been hosted virtually from Adam Smith's Panmure House, which is part of Heriot-Watt. He was knighted in 2019 for services to science and economics and government. He is President-elect of the Royal Society of Biology, a Fellow of the Royal Society of Edinburgh, and a Fellow of the Royal Society, and is a recipient of the Bruce Medal for Polar Science and the Polar Medal. In these times, where environmental concerns stretch from our daily activities to the top tier of government, the evidence-based advice that Sir Ian has helped bring to the table are critical. He is a very fitting recipient of the award of Doctor of Science from Heriot-Watt University. Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of the Senate, in recognition of his outstanding contribution to science excellence, policy and integrity, I call upon you to confer the honorary degree of Doctor of Science to Sir Ian Lamont-Boyd.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be here and an honour to be here, and congratulations to this illustrious university on its 200th anniversary. Some of my earliest memories of universities actually are of Heriot-Watt University. At the age of 9, I sat in a classroom that looked down on the Grassmarket in Edinburgh and witnessed a building going up. And that building, I was told, was Heriot-Watt University. I'm sure there was more of it than that single building, but it had an impression on me. And actually, at a later stage in my school career with a number of my school chums, I remember knocking on the door of that university because actually it had the closest computer to the school, and asking for our fledgling computer programs to be run. None of them worked, but the university actually did run them for us, which was just a wonderful thing for it to do. So that was my first experience of universities, and it's absolutely wonderful to be standing here today to get this honorary degree from this illustrious university. I remember clearly my first graduation when the world just seemed like a place to be conquered. It was a wonderful opportunity, and again, it's fantastic coming towards the end of my career to to re-experience the graduation process. But throughout my career, I've tried to follow 3 guiding principles. The first of those is to do your best, to be as good as you can be at whatever that might be, to try hard, to work hard, and don't slack. The second is to have fun. As Tracy has said, I spent 14 years of my life working in Antarctica, and that was fun. It really was. It was wonderful. But so were many other things about academic life and about research. Exploring the unknown is a really fun thing to do. The third guiding principle was to do my duty. We all have rights as citizens, but I think sometimes we forget that those rights come with responsibilities. And I think that we have to focus sometimes on those responsibilities, and particularly as academics, what those responsibilities might be. When I started out on my career, climate change, the hole in the ozone layer, biodiversity loss, rampant consumption were perhaps beginning to be understood, but very few people took them seriously. Now, as we face the consequences of the nexus of those problems, driven mainly by human behavior and exploitation of limited environmental resources, our duty is to do things differently. We have all been educated to a level which means that our duty is to turn our substantial intellectual and creative talents to solving many of these extremely difficult problems. And in a few weeks' time, COP26 in Glasgow will be some sort of stepping stone, I hope, along this road. But the speed with which we travel depends on how much we do our duty. In Scotland, each person consumes about 18 tons of raw materials per year. We need to get this to about 8 tons per year to be anywhere near sustainable. We need to increase the productivity of 1 square meter of farming land by about 5 times what it is by the middle of the century. Over the last 25 to 30 years, we have not increased it at all, despite all the money we spend on research. We have to also find ways of freeing up between 30 and 50% of current agricultural land for other functions, because we're running out of land, and that's at a global scale. So that gives you an idea of the kind of challenges that we have ahead. Universities like Heriot-Watt have a particular role to play in this by providing leadership. And that's not just academic leadership about developing the research in order to solve those problems. It's actually leadership as institutions, as structures. Frankly, if universities like Heriot-Watt cannot become sustainable, what hope is there for the rest of the world? So this is a bigger and more explicit challenge than I experienced when I was stepping out as a new graduate. But we need to take up this challenge. We need to do our very best. And we need to have fun, because the next 200 years really relies on it. Thank you very much indeed.
Sir Ian and Dame Frances, we thank you for your wise words and also your challenge to us, which we accept. So friends, the ceremony is now closed, And for those present in the hall today, the procession is going to lead out into the refreshments and, of course, an opportunity for us to meet together. So in a few moments, may I ask you to return to the James Watt Centre and to take a seat at the table, and refreshments will be brought to you once you are seated. And I know that the Chancellor is going to be pleased to drop by around the tables so you can have chance to say hello. Now, on the walls of the James Watt Centre here, you may all have noticed, I'm sure, some photographs. This is the Wellcome Collection's exhibition of photographs of the famous photographer John Thompson. Thompson himself is an alumnus of our early institution at the Watt Institution and School of Arts. And from that, after graduating, he became a photographer at a time when photography was still in its infancy. Thompson became one of the earliest photojournalists, capturing, for example, for the first time Angkor Wat, and also remote parts of China. He combined art, chemistry, and entrepreneurial spirit, along with quite a thirst for adventure in equal measure. And I think, in many ways, he exemplifies the essence of Heriot-Watt today, and I hope his example will inspire future generations of graduates here. So do enjoy looking at that exhibition, an exhibition that has already been seen in the last few years by over 1 million people in different places around the world. Thank you for joining us today. We have all celebrated and just heard about the commitment of our Chancellor, and celebrated too the lives and inspirational examples of our honorary graduates. It's been a really marvelous occasion. And in this bicentennial year, we do look forward with confidence to our mission, to equip, to enrich the whole Heriot community, and to be leading out in society to address the pertinent issues that we've heard of today. We value your partnership and your support as we move forward in this mission, and thank you once again for attending today. I now declare the ceremony closed, and could I please ask that you're upstanding for the Chancellor's and academic processions.